Hello, y'all. It's Hot Rod here. So today I'm working on a T5 transmission, and I've been researching shifters and understanding a short throw shifter, especially is kind of needed when you put an S10 transmission in like a vintage truck, and you need a taller shifter on it. You really need a short throw to help offset that long shifter. And so anyway, I was looking at some of the shifters available, and most of them are for a Mustang. Some of them are pretty expensive. And I'm not throwing those guys under the bus, but I'm looking for a more alternative, cheaper alternative route. So here's what I've discovered, and I'll share this with you. Maybe it'll help you out. I hope so, because that's what I'm all about, is helping people get to where they want to be. Anyway, here's the S10, the Mustang shifter that I bought off eBay for like $30. I questioned its integrity, how good it was. So far, it looks absolutely worth $30 and then some. So here's the base of it. I've taken it apart. So here's the base of it. This goes in here. This right here bolts down using these bolts on top of that. It comes assembled when you get it. But I could not find nearly as many S10 transmission shifters, a short throw, as I did the Mustang, and the Mustang was far more common. And so I bought a Mustang one off eBay in hopes of converting it over to the S10 bolt pattern. And let me show you what I'd got. So here's the Mustang shifter, and I used an S10, a good one, a good shifter that came out of this transmission right here, and using that bolt pattern right there. So I know that that shifter fits because it came off of it original. So what I did was simply to kind of simplify this, I simply laid this piece up here. And I know you cannot go by the way it appears on the camera, but I really did set that up and square that up so it touched the square. But I'm just giving you a video illustration here. So what I did was I got the center of this right here straight this way and this way as well. Straight like that and straight like that. So it's straight. And then I used my calipers here. Then I got this square. Sorry, I got one hand on the camera and one hand on this. So I used my square there, and I used these calipers here, dial calipers, and lay it on here and get it lined up with the center of that, and then over the center of that with the edge of the square there. And that's how I found all my measurements. I did it that way. And I also did it that way, based off of the hole center there and the hole there. Okay, so here's the measurements that I have found to transfer that S10 pattern over to this Mustang shifter. And I'm going to flip this upside down, and then I'm going to clamp it to the table. So here we have it clamped to the table. And I've taken my measurements, and I'm going to share those with you all so you can look at this and at least see how I arrived at that. So this being the center pivot of the shifter, this being the original Mustang holes right here and there on the circles. All right. And so what I did was taking the measurements of this S10 shifter and putting them over here. Again, using this center for my reference and measuring out in the width. I came out. Now, I'm not absolutely exact, but I think I'm really, really close, at least close enough that you can make it and it'll work. 2.90 inches from the center to the center for the new S10, and half of that then would be 1.45. And then for the overall length of the pattern, 3.43 inches. 3.43 to the center of the hole, to the center of the new hole that I'm going to drill. Not the old ones, but the new ones. So I don't care what the pattern is on the Mustang. I just drew those for your reference so you can see, you know, what is already existing. And also I've got it notated new S10 holes with the X. So that's the pattern that I come up with. The new hole right here would be 2.05 inches from the center of the hole over to the center of the pivot, and also 1.38 from there to there. And as best I remember, this being the front of the trans, and this being the rear, right there. So anyway, I'm going to take a picture of that so you guys, and I'm going to put that on there. I'm just going to let that hold steady there for a minute so you all can study that and make notes, and then I'll move on. So I took those measurements right there and transferred them over to this here. And I took this apart. I took that apart so I could actually get a square on there. So I did use a square. The first thing I did was measure from here, from the center back to here, and then from that same point back to there. And I double checked to make sure I had an overall length right here of 3.43. So then I also did the 1.45 from here over to here, and the 1.45 over to here. On the S10 shifter, that pivot is centered between those holes there. Okay, but on the Mustang right here, you can clearly see it is not, because there's the pattern for the S10 scratched there, and you can see that hole is offset. That hole is slightly offset, but you can tell that the Mustang pattern is definitely more offset than the S10. So anyway, again, using this as my center line. So we're going to drill those holes out and see how they turn out, and I will get back with you and see how it all fit together. But anyway, that should at least give you the dimensions. And then after that, you can just cut this right here off if you want. You'll have to get rid of this to some degree, because I think it will start to hit this top right here. It'll start to hit that if you don't cut it off. Anyway. And also, I want to notate, in my kit, I've got some extra springs and bolts, and this is the top part of the new shifter. I'm not going to use any of that. I've got an old Hurst handle I'm going to bolt to it. However, it did give me some extra springs in here, and I'm going to install those, because these, let me see, hold on. Those came additional in the box. However, these springs here are what came out of it originally. And you can clearly see that if you look at these two together, I'm going to zoom this in. These, the bottom ones down here, are clearly thicker and more heavier duty to give a more centering shift on your gate. So I'm going to install these and take these out. So here we are with the finished product. As you can see, I cut the end of it off there. I sanded the edges to keep from having sharp edges on them. It fits pretty good. I try to keep from over drilling these holes and, as they say, wallering them out big, because when I put it on there, I want the bolts to keep it from moving around. I want to minimize any chance to keep the shifter tight. So I used a step bit to drill these. And also, if you'll notice, it has a part right here where it's raised up, and you'll have to cut and grind that little edge flange off there to level it down. So anyway, but I used a step bit because it just made it a little easier drilling and a little more accurate, especially back here in the back, where these holes right here kind of overlapped. And that helped a lot. And I took my time, going step at a time, then get it to where they fit snug. As you can see, if you look, and here's a little confirmation of those holes being off center. If you can see, notice here, there's a pretty significant edge right here. And so this right, what I'm trying to point out is this round part right here is not even centered in this section here. Notice how there's a little bit of flat hanging out here, but when I spin it around, there's none there. Absolutely none. So that tells you that this is off-centered to begin with, and that's why the original holes don't center up with, you know, with your new holes. Because essentially you have to go off of the center of this thing right here. You have to go off the center each way. Anyway, we're going to put it on there. So far, I put it on there, and it fits pretty good. It fits pretty good. So, anyway, let's put it on there and see what we got. And it slides down on there. Nicely. As you can see. And there's no wiggly wobble to it. See, it's good and tight. And that's what I want. And I can slide it off of there. I will admit, I did have to take a little drill rasp, a rotary burr cutting tool, and kind of slightly take some meat out of this here so that it fit down, because my holes weren't precisely correct. They were very, very close. I don't know if it's my measurements or my drilling. But anyway, that'll get you in the ballpark. And anyway, I'm going to put it together and let you know what I got. Okay, so I've encountered another problem as I'm putting this together. And this is the original bushing out of the transmission. And this is a low mileage transmission. The bushing is in good shape. It's not worn out. Here's the aftermarket shifter. Here's the original. Notice here how the bushing slides on there. And it has no play in it whatsoever. I can feel just maybe ever so slight bit there. Okay, let's come over here. Now watch this. I can't even get it on there. It will not even push on there. Look at that. Will not even push on there. So this is apparently, this ball is a little bit big. I mean, I did force it, but it was tight. And it doesn't seem like it's got good smooth action. Here, you can see it fits on there with almost no slop at all. Almost none. But it does go on there. But it will not go on here. Sorry for the dirty fingernail. You know how it is. So I'm going to sand that down. Just polish it down like with a belt sander all the way around until that does fit. Other than that, it's going good. So there it is after I've sanded it down, and here's what I've discovered. It does seem that there is a coating of chrome on there, and you can see by the copper where I sanded through, that is obviously what was keeping it a little bit big. And once I sanded through that, then got off of it, got the chrome off of it, it seemed to fit much, much better. So here's my bushing. So now it goes on there with the least little bit of drag, just almost very little, and it goes on. So it fits really just about right. So it appears that you will have to some of these shifters, you'll have to sand that little bit of chrome right there off and get it down to the metal. So we'll put it back together and then try it. Well, it absolutely works fantastic, that I can tell you. It's all on. Got my old homemade Hurst shifter that somebody made anyway, it's nice to get to use it on this. It's going to go in that truck right there, 39 Chevy. But anyway, here's the issue at hand. So the shifter. So I got a nice throw on it. Not too much. And it goes in all the gears. It works really good. And you know, there's a common thing. See if I can get it. Hold on. There's a common thing that is taught, or, you know, people try to shift these like a Muncie or a Saginaw, but they don't have an H gate. They've got like a double H. So really, all you got to do, there's springs in this right here. So those springs are pretty heavy duty, and they will try to center that shifter back up the moment you pop it out of second gear. So right now it's in second gear. So they say all you have to do when you're going to the second to the third shift is simply push it forward. And that's pretty much right, because as soon as you bump it forward the least little bit, it pops out of the, and then it swings over to that neutral gate, and then it goes right up into third. So you can see here, it's pretty much just, and it's in third, and that's all you got to do. And there's fifth and reverse. But yeah, so it's in second gear right there. So all I got to do is just go and push it forward, and then it's in third. And there it is. It's that simple. I'm very happy with it. I highly recommend it. It's an eBay, a shifter, did a little modification, but it now works on this S10 from a Mustang. $30. I'm totally happy with it. Anyway, hope you have good luck out of it like I did. Peace out.